It's not your child's job to regulate your emotions. It's called emotional parentification, and it has consequences that echo for generations. Picture this: you're exhausted, the day's been a chaos at the office, your 5-year-old is melting down before bed, screaming, crying, refusing to brush teeth, and something inside you just snaps. You say, I need a break. You walk to your room, shut the door, and cry hysterically. A few minutes later, you hear your child's little footsteps. They've stopped crying. They come in the room, softly say, Mommy, are you okay? They pat your arm, they become calm, obedient, almost adult-like. And in that moment, you feel relief, finally, quiet, peace. But the peace came at a cost. Because what that moment taught your child wasn't emotional safety, it was emotional responsibility. Responsibility for you. I was that child, and so many were of my clients. When we put responsibility on a child without giving them power, we create traumatic experiences for their nervous system. These are experiences of stressful overwhelm that they are in no way near ready to handle. And that's emotional parentification. It's what happens when the emotional roles in a family quietly reverse. The child learns to regulate the parent. You melt down, they soothe you. You are sad, they cheer you up. You are angry, they try to make you happy again. And it looks harmless, even loving, but inside a very different story. Your child's nervous system learns that their safety depends on your stability. They stop crying, they stop needing, they stop expressing, because somewhere deep down they know if mom or dad falls apart, everything falls apart. It pains me to say this, but I'd rather have honest conversations about my experiences and experiences of my clients, and my experiences as a parent who was passing on the same legacy to my children that my parents were passing on to me. It was unconscious, hidden. It disguised yourself. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. And I really had very little in terms of my ability to self-regulate when I was raising my first child. I've lived this from both sides. As a parentified child, and then as a dysregulated parent. When I was a child, my mom would break down, and it became my job to soothe her. I became the emotional adult in the room long before I was ready. I mediated between my fighting parents, made them calm down when things got tense, and carried that quiet, kind of quiet responsibility that makes you grow up far too soon. And later, as a parent, it really affected me. Despite being a therapist who knows better, I saw the same pattern in my parenting. My first child would see me cry and immediately turn into a caretaker. They'd hush themselves to become extra good, and it broke my heart because I knew exactly what that switch cost. Parentification isn't always obvious. It's not abuse in the traditional sense. It's not the trauma in the traditional sense. It's more subtle, emotional, and chronic. It happens when parents, often loving but dysregulated, can't manage their emotions well enough to stay the adult in the room. So they unconsciously lean on their child to be their emotional anchor. They overshare, they unload, they say, I am so stressed from work, or your dad is making things hard again. They make the child their sounding board, their comfort, or even their therapist. And the child who just wants love and stability steps up every time. And here's what that costs over time. Neglected emotional development. They never learn what their emotions feel like because they are too busy managing parents. Second, difficulty with boundaries. They don't know where they end and the parent begins. So as adults, they end up saying yes when they mean no, or taking on everyone's problems and emotions as their own. Third, chronic guilt and anxiety, because somewhere in their wiring, they learn that if someone they love is upset, it's their fault and it's their job to fix it. You'll see it later in life in the perfectionist, the overthinker, the one who keeps relationship running at any cost, even when they're bone tired. They become the reliable ones, the peacemakers, the fixers, the ones who are calm on the outside but quietly falling apart inside. A bit of a personal story again. My son went through a phase of sudden anxiety when he was around 8 years old. Fear of heights, fear of loud sounds, fear of things he'd never feared before. And as a therapist, I knew what that meant. Anxiety isn't random. It's a misplaced stress response. The mind looks for an external explanation of the internal overwhelm. Say, I'm scared of heights, because it's easier than naming and digging out the deeper truth. I'm scared of losing connection. I'm scared that my feelings make you crumble. And it wasn't about heights for my son. It was about his strained relationship with his dad. And once I saw that, I started helping him. Research backs this up. Studies show that emotionally parentified children grow up with higher rates of anxiety, depression, and emotional distress. They develop a low sense of control over their lives because they were trained to control everyone else's emotions. They often engage in risky behaviors or become chronic over-functioners in adulthood, anything to maintain the illusion of stability. They also struggle with trust because when the adults around you were unpredictable, your nervous system learns no one is coming to help me calm down. So you learn to do it all yourself, and later you call that independence. But it's not independence. It's hypervigilance in disguise. So if any of this hits home, take a deep breath. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. You can't undo your childhood, but you can stop passing it forward. The moment we recognize that our child's meltdown isn't a threat, but it's an invitation to reclaim our role as an adult. So we stop outsourcing emotional regulation to our children, and we teach them through our calm that emotions are safe, emotions are repairable. Because the truth is, your child doesn't need a perfect parent. They just need a regulated one, the one who can reset after falling down. So the next time your child cries and you feel yourself freaking out, pause. Take care of you, quietly, safely, away from their tiny nervous system. Because the most loving thing you can give a child is not protection from pain, it's the experience of safety when pain happens. And that's emotional maturity. That's how we end the cycle. And if you're ready to go deeper and actually practice these self-regulating skills of resetting your nervous system as a high-achieving, overstimulated parent, join me inside the Better Parent Reset course. It's used by 50 plus professionals, high-achieving parents who want to shift from work mode to present parent mode in minutes without explosive outbursts. It's time for you to build a new legacy, regulated nervous system. Find the link to the course in bio.